Hey guys, hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. Today we are discussing the implement risk responses process, and implement is a bit hidden, but it's written on the slide if you're able to notice it now. So implement risk responses, this is a process in risk management knowledge area. Let's discuss it. As always, first link in the description will take you to an article on this topic. So if you are into reading articles, check it out. And second link in the description, the most important link is the entire playlist of every single video that we have done on risk management knowledge area. So two important links, check them out. Let's get started. All right, so first things first, this process was actually introduced as part of PMBOK Guide Edition 6. So before Edition 6, we never used to have the implement risk responses process. Now, this is the only process in the executing process group, and obviously the knowledge area is risk management knowledge area. So here you can see executing process group, risk management knowledge area, and this is the process that we are talking about. It's a bit light color on a light background, but I hope you can see it. Implement risk responses, this is where it lies. We have already discussed every single process in the planning process group. Like I said, second link in the description, you can check it out, the entire playlist. It will have videos on all those processes. So today let's talk about implement risk responses. All right, so as the name goes, this process is all about implementing the agreed upon risk response plans if a risk were to materialize. So as part of risk management, you first identified all the risks, then you analyzed them qualitatively, quantitatively. We have discussed all this previously as well, right? In these respective processes. You have documented all the risks after analyzing them. You've also come up with the response strategy for all the risks, right? If a risk materializes, what will be your response? All of that has already been done. As part of this process, all that you're doing is implementing the already agreed upon risk response plans. Now, if you are working on a software development project, let's say you are coding and a risk materializes, you are obviously going to implement the risk response plan. If you are testing and a risk materialize, you will obviously implement the risk response plan. It's the same if you are deploying the project, right? You're done with coding, you're done with testing, you had identified a risk at the time of planning of the project that there is a risk with deployment, and if that risk materializes, you are going to implement the agreed upon risk response plan. Why am I giving you all these examples? The simple reason is that this process, the process of implementing risk responses, is performed throughout the life of the project. Whenever a risk materializes, be it coding, be it testing, be it deployment, be it any other phase of the project, based on your planning, you would have identified all the risks, and whenever a risk materializes, you are going to go into the implement risk response mode and you're going to implement the response, the agreed upon risk response, that is. A quick reminder before we move ahead, if you're looking for an introduction to project management sort of session, head over to pmclounge.com/pm101. This is totally free session, 1.5 hour long. Thousands of people have benefited from it. Check it out today. All right, last few things. One of the key problems with risk management is the fact that the project teams are spending a lot of time and effort in identifying risks, then analyzing them both qualitatively and quantitatively, and then developing risk responses, as well as documenting all this in the risk register. So the project team is doing all this, but the project team seems to be taking significantly less action when it comes to managing risks. So when a risk materializes, managing that risk, implementing the response plan is something the project teams have not been spending a lot of time in, as compared to spending the time in analyzing, identifying, and documenting everything related to risks. And that could probably be the reason why this process, the process of implementing risk responses, was introduced as part of PMBOK Guide Edition 6. And finally, before we end this video, the question for today is: the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs of this process are nothing that you haven't already studied. So, can you name some of the ITTOs for this process? Now, whenever I ask this question, the whole idea is for you to be able to start thinking in the direction of what could possibly be the inputs for a process where you are implementing risk responses. So where do you document risk responses? That document will definitely be required as an input for this process, right? So I want you to think in this direction, right? Because PMP exam is not about learning the tools and techniques and inputs and outputs. It is not about that. It is about being able to draw the relationship between processes and the reasons why certain items are required as input, why certain techniques are required, and why certain items are the outputs of certain processes. So to be able to come up with that relationship, you should be able to answer questions like these. And this is why I'd always suggest you to look at a process and then start thinking through what could be the input for this process, what could be the tools and techniques that a project manager or the project team can use to come up with the outputs, the required output for the process. So think through, let me know your answers in the comments. Definitely looking forward to them. So that's all that we had in this video. Hope you got value out of it and were able to understand the implement risk response process. Smash that like button if you got value out of the video. It helps us stay motivated and create more free content. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified. Also, don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource. Thank you.